Hey everyone, my name is Pac-Man Power Ghost, and with the recent spike of people being interested in the Superspeed category for Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, well, I thought it was time to make a video about what the run is, how to set it up, and explain how some of the tricks are performed in the run. Basically a tutorial for all those new runners, but also for those runners who want some insight on how the run works as of 10th of December 2020. This video will be put into certain sections. First off will be what the run is, how it came to be. Second will be how to set it up on Emulator. Third will be how to set it up on console, as they're quite different. And fourth section will just be the run itself. So what is Superspeed? Superspeed is basically like 80%, but with input of a GameShark code to increase Harry Potter's speed, momentum, and velocity. This basically makes it so Harry can do things that wouldn't normally be done in an 80% run, as for example, having Harry push himself into corners, make himself accelerate upwards onto a platform, jump even further than normal, skip playable sections of the run, and in cases even skip certain cutscenes. So now we've had a brief summary of what Superspeed actually is. Let me show you how to set it up on Emulator and Console. So setting up the cheat is pretty simple on Emulator. All we need to do is make sure we understand how to set it up. So on the forums at speedrun.com, HP1, PS1, if we navigate all the way to the guides section, and if we go to here, as you can see, we have the information for the code itself and what we name the file. So if you have the US version, we'll name it this. If you have the Canadian version, we'll name it this. So as you can see over here, there's different names for the different versions. So obviously, since I'm using the US version, I'll use this, as this won't work for mine. I have multiple cheats on here, but it will work the same for you. So all we have to do is create new text /014 .115 in your respective. Obviously it wants me to create a new one. I'm not going to do that, and once you do that, all you have to do is for your version. So for me it's this is the US again, and if you wanted to do the Canadian, just use this code, put it in, save, and you're pretty much all good from there. Once you've done that, all you do is run the emulator. Let's bring it over, file, open the ROM however you do it. Once the game is loaded, all you have to do is press escape, go to config, cheat codes, and select your cheat code you want to use. Obviously for us it's just speed. And that's all you have to do for emulator, and it should work for you. So for setting it up on console, first we actually have to meet the prerequisites. So first off, if you want to play this on a console, you're going to need a GameShark, obviously, and there's a specific version that us runners have found to work on pretty much every time on most discs. So what you're looking for is a GameShark, not the light version, and if I refresh, we're looking for a GameShark CD version 4.0 for the PlayStation. Make sure it's the PlayStation, not the PlayStation 2. Now we see if your slim model will meet the prerequisites. In order for it to be compatible with your console, you gotta first make sure on the back of your US console, as it's the fastest. And the only way we found it to work, make sure it's the NTSC. If we look here, this is like a time frame of when the PlayStation was manufactured. As long as it's anything before 8C on that, you'll find that the product will work. If it's anything above like 9A, it probably won't work, as it's the software inside the PlayStation has actually been patched. And you'll find that most 7K models will be like this. There is a few 9K models that are before the 9 production. If you're not on 8, we believe that anything below will still work fine. Again, if you're having issues with this, come to the Discord. The Discord link is just there. But now you know what we're looking for, and we have the prerequisites. Let's show you how to actually set it up. So now you've met the prerequisites, all we gotta do is now put it in the console and set it up. So before you do that though, make sure you press triangle, go to the PlayStation driver, make sure disk speed is put to fast, and once that's done, just load up the Game Shark. If you have to use the browser, use the browser. Sometimes people have found that it can be finicky on its first read. So then it'll come up with the PlayStation logo as normal, but then you'll see a black pan downwards. This is all normal. Once the Game Shark's finally loaded, as it does take its time, sometimes you might find that it doesn't load. In this case it did for me. That just means it hasn't read the disc properly. So right now all we need to do, if we want to make a game code, is select game, new game. You can name it whatever you want. Just for the purposes of this video, we'll just name it Triple Star. And this is to add a code, and this is the name. So on the interface, press triangle to delete things, and X to select. Circle is to change to capital and lowercase. Square does nothing, I believe. So we're just going to be CD, doesn't really matter for me. Save. To input the code, all we need to do is match it with the previous code that I've mentioned before. So if you direct yourself to the speedrun.com HP1 PS1 guide 64 GFS, you'll find the code that you require for your specific version. Again, this is for the American version, and this is for the Canadian. So all you do is just input the first line. Once it's done, press save. If you go down, that makes it quicker to go to the letters, and if you go up from 0, you'll go to the numbers. So go save. Sorry for the notification. Add a new value for a new line. Again, input the code, doesn't really matter. For demonstration purposes, once that's done, all you would need to do is press circle, and you've basically set up the game in code. Sometimes you'll find that if it doesn't work the first time, just delete the game, put in the new code, put in the code again, and you might find results have changed. If you're still having issues with setting this up after inputting the correct code, refer to the Discord as seen here. Once you've got the code working, or you believe you got the code correct, all you would need to do is press circle from here, select the game. If you've already edited a code, it defaults to that game and whatever was done previously. So what you do, start game with codes or without, depending on what you want to do. But in this case we want to use codes. Once you get to this screen, eject, put in your Harry Potter disc, press X once the lid's closed, press X again on the please wait screen, and you should see the black pan, and hopefully Harry Potter game is loaded and the Superspeed actually works for you. So now we've set it all up, let's actually talk about the run. So in the intro, there's not much to it. All we gotta do is wait for Dumbledore here to stand still, have Harry pan around the room, and once he starts walking forward, you can press the super speed button to skip this cutscene. Just open the door and navigate your way down the stairs. There are two ways to do this. You can do it how it's presented here by just talking to Ron, but you can also do it like this by jumping over the Ron trigger and just opening the door. It saves around 2 seconds. It's pretty nice to get. It's pretty handy. So once that's done, we enter this room, and after we've talked to Draco, we get control. Now, one of the things that it's done a lot in this run is we line ourselves with 90-degree angles in the walls to actually propel Harry to go upwards. So let's just show that again. So as you can see, when we approach the wall at a 90-degree angle, if you don't get it first try, just go backwards by like pressing the D-pad and then try the input again, going straight. Another thing too, when you're coming outside of doors, generally once Harry can take control again, or anything like that, it's best to tap so you can skip a little bit of the walking animation and then hold down the super speed key. Just saves a little bit of time. So once we get to here, all we need to do is double tap super speed so we can get ourselves to the other side of the room. Hold the direction of down right while holding X and let go of the direction pad after Harry's moved a little bit. So we can aim for that iron gate and we can walk through. When going up the gate, it's technically faster to push the analog key upwards while going up slopes, so make sure you're doing that. Now, this bit's a little complicated, so we'll talk about that now. So in order for this to work, basically all we need to do is super speed until we reach the ground. Once we reach the ground, we stop super speeding, and if we can, early enough, it's technically faster to do a right input, so you're getting away out of the Ron trigger cutscene. Once that's done, head to the door, press square, and you should be right to skip the rest of the cutscene. You can also brute force it by just going to the left as well, but you'll find that you might lose a second or two. It doesn't really matter how you do it there. So once we exit the room, all we need to do is hold down the super speed button and a bit down left. Navigate back up the stairs, open the door, and we head down to the dungeons. But before we do that, let me explain the routing of it. So from this point on, there's a small skip that basically can change the route in giving Harry spells that he wouldn't normally have by going down this route. It's a really simple skip. All we got to do is just super speed beyond the Snape trigger. So all we do is just enter the room, go by Snape. It's better to not super speed while you're inside of Snape, as you'll find it's easier to navigate to the door. It's also possible that you might be able to skip talking to Snape, but we found that when you do that, you'll get it on the first way entering, and there's no real setup of getting it on the way back. So for now, we don't know how to skip that text and save a little bit of time. But until we do, I'll make sure I might put in the description of this video and a timestamp of how to do the trick, whatever. But for now, we don't know. So once you've done Snape skip, all we got to do is navigate to the Four Eyes section. So just go through this archway, then this below archway, and now we're going to do a trick called Early Four Eyes. So this is how the trick's done, just as a demonstration. Get on, super speed. Ideally you try and get on there without hitting the ledge, but sometimes it doesn't happen. So to get a consistent setup, normally you want to position yourself in the middle of the girl and also the wall. Line Harry's head with the Bertie box, like the Bertie box, every flavor beans box. And you want to have some distance between the edge that you're standing on, so you can get a run up the super speed. And once you've set up that angle, you can pretty much just go forward, and you should have early 4 eyes. Some struggle with this in doing it quickly, but the more you practice it, the easier it'll get. So once you've navigated all the way to that door, go up these stairs, enter through here, and what we're going to do now is skip over the Peeves trigger. As you can see, we've gone up and done that. Now this is not too hard. All we got to do is do an input of down right. In doing so, that makes it so Harry's in the position where he will super speed past the trigger, and then you can move yourself to that bookshelf and jump off there. Those with keen eyes might have also noticed that Harry instantly shot himself up. This can happen when you angle it just perfect enough that it's like, again, it's kind of like a 95-degree angle, and if you like do like kind of like a curved motion when you're entering that block, you'll find you'll shoot yourself up instantly. You can't really consistently get it, but if you get it, it's just kind of nice. So once that's done, all we need to do is get on these pots. It's a bit of RNG in how quickly you can get on there. Go up to this door, and we start the process of taking out the eyes. Now, depending on the angle that you position Harry after you cast your Flipendo, you can manipulate your camera by pressing L2 and R2, and by doing so, you can actually move Harry into certain spots of the map. So what I've done there is moved Harry to a corner to set up for the 90-degree angle push up. There I've done it really quickly, and it's just shot up instantly. It's the same as doing it in the tutorial, not much different. So again, we're doing the same with the green eye with the yellow eye. In this case, I ended up in the corner. But if you angle yourself a little bit more to the right after you cast Flipendo, you'll find that you might be at the edge of the slippery slope, which saves a little bit of time. Generally, you want to get hit by the fire here just because it saves time when we do a Death Abuse later. Here is a bit of RNG for where the platform is placed. So it's in this section. Optimally, you want to walk to and jump onto the first cauldron, super speed tap onto the third cauldron, and then you can navigate your way through. Generally, if you super speed to decrease the time it takes to get onto that first one, the game lags a bit and sometimes it will eat your super speed input, so just be wary of that. Also, if you manage to fall in any of these sections, it doesn't really lose much time, as again, we're going to need a Death Abuse later. So in this section, generally if you hold your stick up left, you'll find that this jump pattern will become to you as you practice it. So we'll just watch that again. You'll learn as you go, and this is the optimal way to get into that room. So here, all we do is we super speed into the corner, Flipendo in the direction of the right side. It should hit the eye, and you can go through the door, and it saves a little bit of time. Once done, drop down to here, navigate your way up, do the corner thing, same as previously. You'll find that tricks that you learn throughout the run will apply in multiple sections. So once we reach the blue eye section, all we need to do is hit the blue eye and super speed down into the hole. To save time, you want to make sure you know how much health you have and get it down to 1 health. And you'll find here that Harry's infinite falling. Basically that happens when you've come out of that cutscene and you just tap super speed. It's optimal if you have a little bit extra health and you don't really know how much you have left. In this case, I only had 4 health, so I did it once, and you know, at the time I didn't actually know. There's also another way to do it. If once you hit, you exit the room, but I generally find that it crashes my game in most of the runners on console, but if you're doing it on emulator, you might be okay. Basically, like we've done with the red room, just basically walking out so the trigger doesn't happen while we're inside the room and we still have control of Harry. From here on out, now we're really just going to focus on the harder sections of the run and things you might need to know if you haven't run this game before. So next is coming up is the Malfoy Wizard Crackers fight. If you follow the way I do it, that's generally a pretty fast way of doing it. If you watch top any % runners, you'll most likely find an even faster way of doing it. But all we need to do is just simply watch how I do it, and you'll get a gist of it. Basically, you want to be able to go to this corner, dodge the Wizard Cracker, pick it back up, throw it when Draco throws his, pick it up again, throw again, pick up again and throw again, and that finishes the first cycle. Next is a little different. What we want to do is go to the halfway point between where Harry's standing and the end of the rug. So here, well, not actually there. Go left, dodge that, pick that up, throw it, wait for another one to come, dodge it, move left, wait for Draco to stop, throw, dodge, pick up another cracker and instantly throw. So here all we do is we pick up, instantly throw, pick up, wait, pick up, instantly throw. In this section we go to the corner of the carpet again, wait for that to be thrown, move to the right of the carpet and then to the left. If you can see that the Wizard Cracker's a little orange, that's what you kind of got to go for when throwing it. Or picking it up, sorry. When it's orange, you'll find that you'll be able to pick it up, no worries. Go to the right side when you throw it, and then move to the left to pick up the other one and instantly throw it. Sorry, not instantly throw it, you wait for Draco to throw his. So in the end cycle, you instantly throw the first two, and wait for Draco in the last. So once you've navigated your way over here through the outside castle, super speed into run, and then just super speed to the left. Not too quickly because you might hit the trigger of the Puff's gain prompt. Now to explain this, I'm going to go into a little bit more detail before we continue. So what we want to do is we want to align ourselves up into the corner of the gate. Once that's done, you might see Harry jitters for a little bit, stop moving, and then like move upwards. Generally that means it'll put you right into the corner, which will let you super speed through the gate. This will be used in another section for skipping incendio areas. Once we've done that, it's very important after we enter here, we don't use super speed. As you can see, it kind of messes up timings of the triggers, and you'll see that I get a duplicate trigger here. So just don't super speed in this section. It doesn't waste time if you don't. So now we're on to the Malfoy second time. Here normally we would be pressing X and squared to actually hit Draco, but in this instance, if this is the only time we actually use super speed on a broom. So what we do is we press the super speed button, and that increases your speed on the broom. If we press it for too long, sometimes Harry can go really far ahead. So what you want to try and do is you want to press the button and input a direction on the analog stick, just so he doesn't go too far away from Draco. You want to position yourself so you're just behind Draco. You'll find that Sometimes you'll get double hits, sometimes you won't, but as long as you can just stay behind him and just keep tapping square, you're pretty much golden. Also, you can kind of slow down by hitting objects around you, just so you can get behind Draco a little bit quicker. Once you've done the Draco section, you'll end up getting to the point where you're at here. Generally, you'll find that if you don't super speed out of the triggers, you'll have to go through the Hermione and Ron, and you'll have to wait like so. Most of the time, this is caused by you stuffing up the input/direction when you're entering this area. The optimal direction we want to be facing is left as we enter, then quickly go to the right. If you want to set up to normally try and get past Hagrid, you want to try and align yourself up the wall in super speed. In this instance, I didn't get it, and it's a bit finicky, but it saves a lot of time than having to wait for Ron and Hermione. Once Quidditch is finished, you then move on to what we call the Tower Skip. Basically, what we want to try and do is we want to make it so Harry doesn't instigate a trigger with a paper page. It basically makes it so Harry walks with Ron into a forbidden place where the sloth brain is, but we don't want to go there. So in order to set this up, basically what you want to be doing is when you come out of that Snape cutscene, you want to be holding left on the left stick. Generally, this will mean while you're super speeding, you'll skip having to do the page. It saves around 20 seconds, so if you can get it, it's a nice time save. So from here, what we want to do is we want to instigate what's called Quidditch Abuse. Now, if you don't know what that is, basically we're tricking the game into thinking that we've done both the Hufflepuff and Ravenclaw Quidditch matches, so we can skip triggers in the game and story elements. So once you're done Tower Skip, basically all you want to do is save at the nearest book, which is here, put it on a file, and make sure that we can play it later, save and quit, and go back to the menu. Once that's done, we want to press X on the save we just saved on. So again, we navigate to the menu, we select our save file by pressing X, then we navigate to the Quidditch, and we want to play through the first two matches. Once you finish the matches, make sure you're pressing X while exiting, and once you finish the second, press the triangle button to return back to the play, game, and Quidditch menu and select the play option. Once you've loaded the save, you don't actually need the memory card either, so you can take that out and it basically saves like 10 seconds instead of having to save. So it's a nice time save for you. So once you've finished both Quidditch matches and you've navigated back to the game, you should have it so once you exit, you'll find that Hagrid's just there. Now make sure that you don't go too close to Hagrid, as sometimes you may trigger on the page. So when you're going there on super speed, just like go to the right of Hagrid just a little bit. And once we're here, we've entered Diagon Alley. Pretty much this is the slowest bit of the run, and generally if you've played the game before, you'll know how easy this is. There's no real tips and tricks, but there's some small uses of super speed that you can use to make it a little faster. Just be wary when you're entering Gringotts, however. We have to be a gentleman, like Harry is, and actually let this girl walk in first. For some reason, there's no way to go faster than the girl. Like so. You'll find that the more you do these sections, the easier it gets. Even I'm pretty rusty in some areas. Make sure when you go to talk to this goblin, flick left, then press square. In the first section, you don't really want to use super speed until you hit the door. Sometimes it's possible to get what we call a padlock skip, but we'll see that later. Once we've done the nuts section, all we do is we then navigate down to the sickles. When you're going up and down this slope, it's technically quicker to super speed. So like so, where I'm using super speed here to increase the speed of me going up that slope. And that's generally really the only time we're going to use super speed in this section. Again, navigate, collect the papers. And basically now what we're going to do is do Padlock Skip. So if you hold down the super speed button as you enter here, and then press square, right as you hit the door, you can instigate Padlock Skip. So I'll show that again. So once you get here, all you really need to do is angle yourself at a 45-degree angle once you hit that last paper, and basically just hold super speed and press square at the door. That's when you'll find that you'll get the Padlock Skip on Sickles more than normal. Once you've done the Sickles area, then we go to the Galleons. Again, it's a little quicker to just super speed out of there, super speed back up, and go over here. In this section, I don't use super speed at all. So I'll just show you what I do as an example. And for the Padlock Skip here, you pretty much get it instantly, no matter what you do. As long as you hold down super speed button and you press square on the door, you'll pretty much get it every time. Galleons is the most lenient when it comes to Padlock Skip. So once that's done, you basically got 3 mini games to go in Gringotts. The first one is the frog minigame. So basically what we're looking for is a shaking box somewhere in either the two platforms. Interesting to note, if you don't see it in the bottom platform, and it's on the top platform, once you take the frog on the top platform, the next frog is always going to be at the bottom. If you don't see it again on the bottom section, again, it's probably going to be above. So what you're looking out for here is in the last talking box there, you might see a jiggle in one of the boxes. If you don't see it, pretty much you can be confident that it's going to be in the above floor. That's just quickly to note. The best RNG you can have is if the frog is in the first box, then the second box, and then the first box below. That's what we call the GOAT RNG. Once we're done there, we're going to navigate to the peacock minigame. Basically what we're going to try and do is follow the peacock's tail and take the feathers and extract them. There's no real tips, but one thing to keep wary of is once you collect the feather, you've got to like walk away from the peacock, then walk back to it for you to actually instigate the next feather collection. And you can use super speed to kind of catch up a little bit. In any percent, this section can be a nightmare because cutting corners, most of the time you may hit the wall. But luckily, we can just catch up. However, there's not much to say for the next section. It's pretty much vanilla. The only way you can really save time is when you're exiting the room, instead of going straight, go to the right a bit where the counter is, and you can skip the dialogue. That's pretty much it though. And then you exit Gringotts. Once you're done with Gringotts, we basically go to the Forbidden Forest. We want to use the same trick that we did with the gate to clip through the Incendio, jump over this platform. Once we've jumped over the platform, we will then be greeted with these trolls and then a little bridge. Generally, I try to approach it from the right side, and if you're in the middle, you'll generally jump over. Once that's done, just get close to the turtles, let it shoot fire and flipendo it. Before the fire cutscene ends, just tap the super speed just for a little extra time save. It's pretty much straightforward with the rest of the forest. All you really want to do once you get to the end is go to this corner and do the same tricks we've been doing with all 90-degree angles. Once you've done that and navigated all your way to the upper castle, what we're going to do is we're going to do another corner clip and elevate ourselves up to the upper platform without having to do Transfiguration class. You go through all the other stuff. Like so. Just line yourself up in a 45-degree angle from there. Sometimes you'll just clip through, it's pretty easy. This next bit can be a little tricky and finicky. It's basically the same thing with all the other corners, but you really want to be a lot more precise with this corner. Generally what you can do is you can align Harry's hand with one of like the end books and also the flooring and also like the center of his head. But generally brute forcing it will get the job done. If you can get it done in less than 15-16 seconds, you'll get a pretty nice time save. From here, because we did the Quidditch Abuse, we don't actually need to collect the key here, so we just super speed over to the door, press square. There's no way we can skip these cutscenes either. Interesting enough, if we set our super speed all the way to the max, we can actually get to where Filch is, but we're not allowed to do that. And here we can't skip this cutscene either, there's no way. At least we haven't found. Once that's done, all we need to do is go up to the bookshelf, press square, and then we'll go to another bookshelf, climb up it, and we'll wait for Filch's cat. You'll see when we get there. You can also do a corner trick on the bookshelf over beyond the bridge, but you'll find that that one is really finicky and it's not really worth going for. So we just wait for Mrs. Norris, then we hold down super speed to get across this barrier. I don't hold super speed here because it's more consistent. Grab the key, open the door. From here what we need to do is get onto a platform, super speed over to the invisibility cloak, drop down to a key, and then do a 90-degree corner glitch again. Like so. Pretty easy stuff. Once that's done, make sure you don't super speed once we get into this section. Walk to the wall, tap it, climb up, and then we can use super speed once we climb up. It just makes it so the timing with Filch and Norris don't make you get caught, and since we're pretty late into the run, we don't really want to lose a lot of time. Now that's done, we finally hit endgame. Luckily we don't have to actually do anything here. All we need to do is just super speed, and it takes us to the end, right behind the dog's leg, and we just walk over to the wooden trapdoor and we'll just fall straight through it. Here I grabbed it, but you understand the point. Now in this room, you want to follow the pattern that's done here. Because we don't have the triangle view, this makes this section a little bit more difficult, but you'll get the gist of it. And then the timings and stuff as you do more of it. I struggled with this section a lot, and still do. So here we just hit it, go to the next one. You can kind of aim for it. As you can see, I also struggle with this section quite badly. Just follow the order. Make sure you don't get too close to the middle. Once you hit the last one, we want to set up for a cutscene skip. But once we get here, we charge a fully Flipendo knockback jinx. Once we hit it though, every single continuous hit, once Harry hits the apex of like his horizontal height, you want to throw out the Flipendo. That basically makes it so we can just one cycle this tentacle. And if you can see that we're lined up with the bars and that little like tentacle prod to the right. So once we super speed, we actually go through that gate, which is absolutely amazing. Wind keys is pretty self-explanatory. You just kind of do what you normally do in most Quidditch sections. If you get every single key without missing a ring, you can go for a fast key, but that's generally pretty hard, and you got to get the feel for it yourself. Once that's done, we're then going to head to chess. Now chess is pretty easy. All we need to do is talk to Ron here. And after this conversation, we go to the black square here. And once we've walked on, we can just super speed right through the chess section. You can softlock here, so just be wary. And there are times where if you go to the left side, it may not work. So again, all we want to do now is head to the Sleepy Troll. So here we're going to try and get a skip. If we just hold down super speed here, generally Harry will position himself like that. And we can just go straight forward without having to talk to Hermione. Here we want to use super speed just so we can just get ahead of the troll. It's just nice so we can set up chair skip and also a skip where we skip dialogue of the Alohomora spell. So you just move him to the side, but accept the last chair. Pretty easy. As long as you can get the chair skip timing down, you'll find that you'll get the Alohomora skip every time as well. To try to time it with how I do it here, or somewhat similar. As you can see, since we're super speeding, we've got a lot of time. Set up chair skip. Something like that, super speed, and you'll basically wait for that thing, and you press square on the door. Here, if we super speed and quickly go quick enough, you'll find that we can also get past the trial cutscene. And then we got to go for potion skip. So I'll show you quickly how to do that. Just be wary though, getting the dialogue skip for the trials isn't always 100% accurate. It's a bit iffy. Don't be down if you don't get it. There's no real consistent setup right now. Again, if there is, I'll follow it up in the description. So what we want to do here is we want to align ourselves with the wall. We want to tank a hit here, and once you tank a hit, basically if you super speed, you'll find that you'll consistently get inside the barrier. Once that's done, just walk backwards a bit and then you'll hit the trigger. So once that's done, we just navigate all the way to Cloudy. Pick up a couple of frogs if you need it. You might need it for Fast Voldemort, just in case you need to tank a hit. Don't super speed at the start here, you'll just end up taking damage. Just wait until you get freedom of movement. You can also take the health potion to the right if you desperately need it. So I'm not going to explain how this works. If you want an explanation on how Fast Voldemort works, if you navigate to the game's forum on the speedrun.com, there's a detailed video on how to set it up. Also, if you watch Top Runners, you'll probably see how to do this a lot easier. But for demonstration purposes, this is how Fast Voldemort's done. In the description, I'll put a link to a tutorial on Fast Voldemort, as I'm not very good at explaining it. But one thing you got to remember, once you've done it, is you don't want to move after you've done 6 hits. It's important that you do 6 hits, and the timing's done, so you hit them after Voldemort groans. You should be good. So again, here you just flipendo without moving, then you turn around. So it basically makes it so Voldemort doesn't move, and you get an extra cycle in for free. It's just a nice thing. From here on out, you just dodge the big ones, continue as you see here. And you do like 4 phases of this. Once that's done, you'll do the mashing sequence. And that's pretty much the end game. I'll continue this just so you guys can see it. Generally what you can do is if you keep your distance this far, you'll find that dodging those big ones are pretty easy. And don't get too close, because if you get too close, you'll get hit by his green aura. And you'll take damage. Also, make sure you don't go for the mirror too early, as you'll probably just deplete. So make sure you just go for it after that big hit. Like so. So once you get to here, you basically got to mash the square button to save your life. And once the prompt comes up, spam square, and make sure you're tapping X when you can, and when the prompt comes up. Once you hit X, there's a little bit of leniency and leeway. You don't have to press square until like Quirrell actually starts touching you again. That's a little tip. And you just continue that for 3 cycles. And once that's done, you're pretty much done Super Speed. If you have any more questions, you can shoot them at me inside the Discord. Again, I'll put the Discord in the description of this video, just in case these guys need it. But that's pretty much it. If you enjoyed this video, or you found this video pretty helpful, please consider giving it a like. I put quite a fair bit of effort into this, and I'm sure you appreciated how easy it was to understand, right? Sure. Yeah, not really. Anyway, I'll leave you to it. Good luck on the runs, and I hope to see you guys running. Peace out.